What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Joe Funicello. I'm the founder of SoccerViza. Crazy news today. I don't know if you guys read, but on the MLS website, they announced that they will be launching a new league in 2022. And the reason being is more pathway for players and just a better football, trying to create a better football culture within America. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we get started, remember, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, as it helps us tremendously on our journey to build a professional club. And don't be afraid to share it as well. All right, so announcement came out. It was a press release today that MLS will be launching a new league in 2022. What does that mean? Was it good for U.S. soccer? Well, reading the language, and today I also called a lot of my friends within U.S. soccer and current MLS coaches, assistant coaches, current MLS scouts, people who work within the youth system, and I asked them about it. And what I gathered from them is that it's going to be more like a U23 league. But if you read the language, it doesn't say it. And one can dream, because like I always say, the players I help are the players that don't get an opportunity in U.S. soccer. So could this help them? Well, if they set it up this way, it might help a little bit better. And here's what I mean. So what MLS is saying is there'll be another league with possible individual ownership. So meaning that you don't have, and this is what the language says, I don't know, it can change, that you don't have to be a franchise owner. You can have individual owners or private owners of teams that will participate in this new league. Now that can change, as press releases can change, and press releases are sent out to get people excited. But it also said that teams will be able to play against current professional MLS teams. So it was interesting, and someone who says that U.S. soccer doesn't offer enough pathways for guys to go professionally, I was like, wow, this could be something different. Like, I really want to look into this. And what I gathered was it's going to be like a U23 league. And I'm going to get into what that means. Now, do I think this could be good for U.S. soccer? I love that they're trying to figure out new ways, but the reality is, when I read into this and listen to people, I think it's just more about money and more about controlling the system in U.S. soccer, and here's why. So right now, there's the MLS League, there's the USL, and there's NISA, right? The three professional leagues. USL has the USL Championship, USL 1, USL 2. Well, USL 1 and USL Championship are really more professional. NISA's trying to become professional. It's a standalone league. I don't see how they're going to get much respect from U.S. soccer, but that's a different conversation. But to enter the to enter a USL Championship team as an expansion team, it costs anywhere from $10 to $20 million. Yeah, that's right, $10 to $20 million, and went up tremendously. So USL franchise owners are paying $10 to $20 million to be part of the league. They get website help with website creation, help with business plan, help with marketing, but it's not really driving revenue, ticket sales, things like that. Even though it's part of their business plan, you as an owner of the franchise have to go out and find fans. You're going to have to go out and do a lot of legwork. On top of that, you still have other expenses, whether it's renting the stadium, whether it's player salaries, player transportation. There's so many fees in there. Same with NISA. I don't know what it costs to start a NISA team. I got to look into that. I believe it's close to $100,000, but I could be wrong. But I think MLS said, wait a minute, all these teams are paying, all these new franchises that are popping up in USL and NISA are paying money to USL or NISA. Why can't we get that revenue and create a tiered system? MLS 1, MLS 2. I think that's what it means. And I don't think relegation and promotion is going to come into the mix. And the reason being is it still costs $300 million to start an MLS franchise. A lot different than anywhere else in the world, where if you start a professional team, you usually start in the lower league, and there's not really a big fee to be part of it. You pay a little fee to be part of the league, and then the league understands that you need most of your revenue or most of your capital to pay players and to get your club going. In MLS, it's different. You pay $300 million to be part of the franchise, and I don't think current MLS owners are going to want to get relegated. I'm just sorry. If you spend $300 million and then next year you're relegated and you lose sponsors and revenue streams because you went down, I just don't see it being a smart business idea. So I don't think MLS is going to implement relegation and promotion. Maybe they're starting to play with it, but I doubt that it's going to happen anytime soon. The other part of this is MLS saying, well, let's get USL teams and NISA teams to buy into our league, but we also have a big deal with Adidas. So let's even market to them and say, if you're part of MLS 1, MLS 2, or MLS 3, you also sign in with Adidas, meaning you got to order Adidas equipment, or Adidas helps with the whole process, and it just looks more professional. So it's a way for MLS to capitalize and Adidas to capitalize on franchises starting up around the country and saying, we want that revenue. Now, they could be smart and start an MLS Cup, if you would, where there's like the MLS teams all the way to MLS 1, 2, and 3 if they start those leagues. And the MLS Club is a competition where it doesn't matter what league you play in. The groups are drawn through all MLS teams, and it allows lower MLS division teams like MLS 1 and 2 and 3, if they do that, to play against current MLS teams. And that's awesome because it's like an MLS Cup, like an FA Cup. And even though I do think the percentage of players who will get scouted from that, like a Jamie Vardy who does well in a lower league and moves up, is very rare, it still gives player an opportunity to play against, let's say, a team from Arlington, Virginia, who started a team, plays in the MLS Cup against DC United, or plays against Inter Miami, and has one of the players has a really good cup run where he's scoring goals or doing well, and he gets picked up. Percentage is small, but smaller than I think in other countries, because usually in other countries, if you do well and your team gets promoted and you're a big part of that promotion, it's easier to get seen. But it's a step forward, so you know that's awesome. It's another pathway, which is cool. But I do think the main reason is a lot more younger players are leaving the U.S. system at a younger age and going to Europe. And MLS is not getting any type of compensation for their youth rights. And I think this is a great way to persuade youth clubs and to persuade expansion clubs in USL or NISA to say, hey, we'll help get you compensation for any player that goes abroad, which is business, and I get it. But the reality is, are these teams actually marketing players to Europe? I don't think so. And to be honest, outside of MLS, there's some teams in Europe that don't even know what USL is, USL 1 is, USL 2 is, or even know that NISA exists. So it will be hard to market, but if there's one or two that come out and go to a Bayern and go to a Chelsea at a young age, the MLS can ask for compensation rights. So I think there's that avenue as well. And if you look at the European system, you know, you got Benfica, Bayern, teams in Bundesliga that have Real Madrid, Barca that have a B team that play in the third division, and they're not there to get relegated or promoted. They're there to just give their players an opportunity to continue playing first team football that might be a U23 player that needs games, or a player that needs to go, isn't getting the right development because he's not getting into the team, he can go play in that league. So I think there's a lot of positives here. I just don't know from a financial standpoint, if I'm a guy who wants to start a pro club in the MLS league system now that they're trying to do that, whether it's MLS 1, 2, or 3, where am I getting my fans and my other revenue streams? Here's why I say that. Because the culture of US, if I start a team in Arlington again, the culture of American sports isn't like, especially soccer, there's not a big following. It's not like the community is going to go and watch those games. I'm going to get a lot of revenue from ticket sales. They might come out to the first game, or they might come out to a championship game if I market properly. But the reality is, somewhere like here in Costa Rica, where if I start a third division team, because the football culture is so strong around the country, if I start a third division team and I launch a game, you're going to get more people there. And if you do well and get promoted, people around town, because they love football, are going to come to the games, what helps your revenue stream tremendously. So there's a lot of question marks, but at least US, or at least MLS, is trying to get things going. I do think it is more of a marketing, you know, when I get American players here, it's funny how much I have to teach them about American soccer and about world soccer and the business side of it. They're so sold on college soccer and playing in a professional league in America, they don't realize leagues like NISA, college soccer, and even USL have ceilings. It's not, if you go play in a third division in another country, there's the relegation and promotion part where if you do well and your team's promoted, there's an opportunity for you to get seen by bigger clubs due to the success of your team. If you win the USL championship, it's very rare an MLS team signs a player from that USL championship game. Where in other countries, it's all the leagues are being watched. So I think it's more of a great way for MLS to make more revenue. I hope players can understand that. I don't think they will because they're so wrapped in the US soccer culture that they're like, oh, I'm playing professional for MLS 2. Well, unless you really have a chance making a decent salary and have a chance to get seen by bigger clubs, there's a ceiling to you. And as an employee, as a player, as anything, you don't want ceilings. You want to do the best work you can do for an opportunity to move on and further your career. So, and that's where, again, that's another conversation. That's why I don't see Nice as a professional league. It can be named a professional league because you get paid, but I see that there's a ceiling there. So let's see what MLS Soccer does. I'll be following closely, but pretty cool news. So remember, if you like this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as it helps us tremendously on our journey to build a professional club. Catch you next time.